Greetings from the kingdom of the Son of God in the beautiful San Gabriel Valley. I can take the camera off today. Actually, no, I don't like the way the angle is. But anyways, a different approach to living out our Christianity, even before the advent of the internet, there's always been this fighting spirit in Christianity when it comes to different belief systems, different views on eschatology, soteriology, Christology, ecclesiology. The internet has only heightened it with debate culture, just debate culture, whether it's on live streams, whether it's actual formal debates, and wars between people that believe in one thing versus believe in another, denominational wars between different apostolic churches versus each other versus Protestants, and even with Christians, the street preaching culture, very confrontational with like what would be unbelievers. And I've participated in all that. I've been a street preacher. I've been very confrontational. I've gone to wars online with people and over things, the beliefs and all this. But one of the things that, if we're really honest with ourselves, we're not persecuted like the Christians were at one time, like the Anabaptists were one time in Europe, or even the Pilgrims or Puritans, or the Puritans, I should say, or even the Protestants at different times, or Catholics even at times in Protestant lands, whatever. It's not like that here in America. Sure, we have opposition from the world on subjects such as the sodomy topic and the different things, traditionalism, patriarchy, whatnot. But I mean, you could live your life pretty much the way you want to live without persecution. You'll have people that disagree and criticize and that type of thing. I'll say this. The Anabaptists came to America after like decades of just brutal persecution, probably like a century of it. The far most persecuted Christian group since probably the early church, during the times of the Roman Empire. And some people even say more so. Well, when they came to America, that persecution pretty much ceased. And it was starting to fade in Europe too for them. When they came to America, they realized they no longer had to worry about hard persecution. So their mentality was, in terms of living out their Christian life, being the quiet of the land. And that's from the Old Testament. The quiet of the land. Paul even mentions this in his writings, to live your life quietly and in peace with men, if at all possible, in as much as possible. So much of modern Christianity is built on strife and an adversarial approach to things. It's built on a combative spirit of argument, and the scripture that work out your own salvation with fear and trembling comes to mind. And maybe it's not about fighting the world so much, or even other denominational beliefs, but it's about living your faith out like the quiet of the land. living out the kingdom principles. You know, they talked about Jesus, the prophecy about Jesus was that he wouldn't cry aloud in the streets or let his voice be heard. Maybe it's living that quiet life in your faith, living out your principles, because your doctrine that you have, if it is not translated to practical living, it's worthless, to be honest with you. It's worthless. And yes, we have to preach, but I found that the most natural and most effective way is just relationships with people and talking to them. So it's kind of the approach I favor, is this living your life in quietness, have peace with men in as much as possible, and living as the quiet in the land. The daily grind of kingdom Christianity. It's not sexy, it's not loud, it's not boisterous, it's not what we see today in the churches, always waiting for a rapture, tongue speaking, very performative, or, with Orthodoxy and the Catholic Church, very performative rituals and outwardness. Maybe that approach, the quiet living approach, is what needs to be. Anyways, hail Christ, hail victory.